Hi, I'm Draken and this is the DrakenWerks and we are back on the Unorthoblocks server for episode 33 of our little Let's Play series here. And we're coming through the Draken Spy here. One of the things that we often get asked is, like, Draken, how are you able to be such a crazy builder, build so much in such short spaces of time? And for me, it's more of a case of that I'm one of these people that will love to challenge themselves. And I think the key to it is turning around and give yourself a big challenge and try and rise that challenge and be in competition with yourself to try and actually overcome these sort of big challenges that you put for yourself. So I set myself these crazy goals and ideas and everything else that I want to do for this base, and then try and just get it done and just get it sort of stuck in there. And you have to have that kind of attitude that you go in there attempting to get it done. But this said, if you see the scale of the challenge we have set ourselves for this base, it is unbelievable. And we are rapidly coming towards the end of the season, which will probably be later this year from what we know at the moment, and there is so much to be done yet. And I'm starting to think, well, how much do we have to do? I mean, you've already seen what we've planned out for the outer city, but there's more beyond the outer city. The outer city isn't like the end. The outer city is just another step, and there is more to go yet. So I thought it was about time that we actually found out for sure. Now, we definitely have a map over in the actual spire itself, which just shows the local inner city, but really we needed a map of everything that we're going to be working on. So I decided that as part of this outer city build where we've been working on, where we started last week, that it may be an idea to build ourselves a massive map that we can actually see everything that's going to be underneath the actual land of the Empire Draken, basically the Draken Empire, and how much it'll be done of the Draken Spire and stuff like that. So we began this massive mapping project. So we put down all these lanterns. There were 16 by 16 lanterns, which I think works out something like 256 lanterns or something like that. And then over the top of them, we put down all the item frames, and then built ourselves our own maps. And then we had to go out and actually fly around the area. And at first, it was a little difficult, sort of working out how to get it all sorted and how to actually do it in a logical thing. But I found that actually probably the best way of doing this was to actually start doing this in like little bits of sautés. So we sort of go out, fly a little bit, get our bearings, grab a couple of maps, store them away in our thing, come back, put them down, have a look at what we still had left to do, and then go back and redo it. And so we just kept on doing this, and we just kept redoing the maps here. And it's nice to sort of see the spire here. You can see the spire off in the background there. But we just basically went through and we remapped everything going across the whole place. And as you can see, you sort of kind of have to pull the map out, look at it, let it sort of expand itself, then sort of fly off to the next area, the next sort of segment, and then turn around and map that segment as well and check to see if that one's come through, and just completely keep repeating this. Once you've got a few, then you've got to be able to sort of put them into their item frames coming across here, and you can see that we start putting this down. I mean, some of this should be familiar if you've seen some of our previous episodes where we've turned around and we've done some mapping with the one that's in the spire there, and you can see actually our elytra is looking a bit unhealthy there as well. Actually, I think we actually turned around and it needed to use like 3 full elytra to actually do the whole of the mapping project, because it was so much that we had to go through and everything there to try and get it all sorted here. And that wasn't an orientation problem, that was more of actually putting it in the right place, which was going up there, because it would sort of come along here. And sort of the first thing I did was to create like Z shape on the map so that I could actually try and get some of my bearings from there. But then it was a case of going back out again and just repeatedly flying around the base. And I think by the time we actually got to the end of it all, we started to kind of actually get an idea how to do this on the fly, because often I would have to go land, swap the maps over and everything else like that. And then I started learning how to be able to do that on the fly and sort of get the timing right so that you don't overshoot, because that was the difficult bit. If you overshoot your map, then you'll end up having to go back and get the map and you lose your order and everything else like that. And keep it in a particular order made it easier to just sort of assemble it back into the bigger picture that you can see that it's starting to come across here. And you can start seeing this is already now bigger than the one that we had in the spire itself, and that we've also got the inner city is starting to be shown on that one. But we decided to go a bit beyond that. I wanted to capture a lot more than just the city and the inner city. As I said, there's a whole island and surrounding islands and lands as well that needed to be sort of caught in there as well. So we decided that we were going to go and run across and do all that. And you can see we've got the airships there. We just going up to Fort Poppy that was there, or Fort Coral. That we did catch Fort Poppy as well, and it took us quite some distance. We actually ended up going right the way out, and you sort of see us flying over here, and it's like you almost don't see the land sometimes. Sometimes it's a good idea to be up as high as possible to give you more space to sort of glide on your elytra. But we went right out to the extremes, right out to the edges of the island, and that enabled us to then put even more in there coming across there. And yeah, it was, we got quite a bit done. But we then needed to build a hall for this. We needed to put this in housing. We couldn't just keep it out on the land here. And nor could we turn around and just keep it just this building out here as well. And as well as what you just seen in the time lapse there, we've also completed the moat. So one of the first things I did this week was actually come down here, cut out and carve out part of the landscape, put in the sort of the moat walls for the inner city there as well, and also just terraformed the whole of the moat land, fill it in with the water and everything else. So now we can actually fly the full length of the moat between the inner city and the outer city, which is also one of the big projects that was needing to get out of the way with in order to actually get on with all our work across the entirety of the outer city, so to speak. But now we can fly all the way through here, as you can see, and we can do end to end with the moats, which is quite cool. That's another thing, another on the tick box. There's a few more rivers and stuff that we need to do along the line, so we'll probably use the same sort of techniques that we use for the moat when we start coming to those rivers later on. We'll explain that in a second. But first of all, I wanted to show you all the other stuff that we have actually been working on here. You can see that we've actually completed this whole segment of the outer city. I think this is probably about, I'd say it's about a quarter to a third of the outer city that is now actually constructed. I mean, we've got to do the interiors on this one, and don't worry, Lady Bex, we're not going to ask you to do these ones. We've already got you up to about 116 on the inner city, so the outer city ones, it would be quite an extensive amount as well. But I'll probably do these. I'll probably work out a way of getting these done. Probably pretty basic, but we'll get something done with these ones out here at some point in the future. But we'll come through here, and you can sort of see this is very much similar to what we built last week. We had the same sort of designs, and then we came over to here, and we built this sort of marketplace here as well. I decided I didn't just want all housing through there like we did last week. I wanted to actually put some sort of features in here. So we've got like a fountain, and we've got these stalls here. There's one thing you'll notice we haven't done, and we haven't put any items on the stalls. We haven't put anything for sale on the stalls. So I'm going to ask you the question. Leave a comment in the comments below. Let us know what you think that we should be selling in these stalls here, what we could be setting up for vendors to be selling to the various peasantry that live in the outer city here. Let me know, because I'm stuck a little bit for ideas. I got one or two ideas, but it'd be nice to have some great ideas and stuff like that. One thing we did build though was this flower shop, but it's not just a flower shop. You can see it's actually a way of actually producing more two high flowers by putting bone meal at the back and collecting it underneath in the chests underneath the actual flowers itself. And you may go, well, actually, Draken, you've already got one of these. You've got one over actually in the main base, but that one's got a little bit of a problematic design, and it was quite a big build as well, and it wasn't necessarily needed to be a big build, so I came up with a better way of doing it. So that one there is actually a slightly more efficient version of the one that we have over in the thing. We don't have like a minecart going back and forwards, which then ends up like becoming a bit like a choke point and a bit of difficulty. So that was a bit of a better flower farm there. Then we come over to here. You might recognise this design. We have a very similar tower over closer to where we built the Demelza classes, the shipyard over there. And yeah, it's a little mini air tower for sort of merchant things. But instead of having a ship docked up there, we just see the ship is just disappearing off into the distance, having just left the tower. And I called that one, I didn't show that one in the time lapse being built, but we called that one the IDAV Perseverance in honour of the Mars probe that just got landed this week by NASA. So big congratulations to NASA for that one. Really exciting stuff that they managed to get another, even more modern, more sophisticated probe onto Mars. And we'll be looking forward to all the pictures coming back. We've just seen the picture of it being dangled beneath its sky crane, the sky crane being back. Absolutely wonderful pictures, so it's a big well done there. But in honour of that, we call that one the IDAV Perseverance, and I think probably the next one we'll have to call Ingenuity as well, and in honour of the helicopter that's gone up with it as well. They sent like a little mini drone helicopter on the probe as well for experimenting around with. But we won't show you all of the housing around here because once you've seen it, it's very much a replicated design. As you know, as we were talking last week, the idea was just to be able to have something that we could build quickly and replicate quickly to fill out the outer city, and then we can just punctuate it a little bit with like these taller buildings. So like we have with the marketplace, it's something that's a little bit different, a bit of a focal point that just stands out in the midst of all these otherwise housing. But the housing is there just to basically, it's more, this area is more like a filler. It's just to give like the backdrop to the city itself, rather than actually serving much of an actual practical function. Like a lot of the inner city, a lot of it is farms, a lot of it is stuff that's built there for a reason, and it has some function, or it is there to look, generally quite nice and pretty. This stuff is more of a backdrop filling sort of thing, but we have the odd thing punctuating it. And one of the things that we punctuate it with, as you can see over here, is this navigation hall here as well. This is the mapping hall, which we built around the map that we built last time, or built earlier on, which you saw us starting, and we've now actually completed the map. You can now see the whole of the island with the city, and you can see how much of the island the city takes up. It's a pretty big island, but our city is pretty huge in itself as well. And you can see the sort of the full encompassing element of it there, and you can see there we've got the inner city. It's all been marked up quite nicely, and I think I'll break the building up of the inner city into like smaller chunks. So this is the first chunk that we've done. I think the second chunk is probably going to be the bit that's just next around. There's like 3 platforms that would be worth doing, but we can come across here, and the great thing is, like, standing this low, we can actually just sort of scan around like this. I can use this in future videos as well to be able to sort of show where we are when we're building stuff and everything else like that. But it's quite close in, it's quite difficult to see. So what I did was I built a second floor. And if we come up to the second floor here, we can now actually got a glass floor here, and we can actually look down at a slightly zoomed out scale and see the whole of the actual map there all in one, just down beneath us. And so again, it's just going to make it a bit easier for us to actually see everything. And again, in future episodes, we can use this to sort of determine where we are. I've got plans to build like farmland going surrounding the actual city itself, and we're going to build some like little mini villages and towns and outposts all around the place as well. And these shouldn't be as extensive or as consuming unassuming as what we have done previously. You can see in the background there, we also built this big house again, talking about these big features. We also did that as well. But I've been Draken, this is the DrakenGameworks. Don't forget to check out all the other Unorthoblocks members who are linked up in the description below. They've got some wonderful videos, go and check those stuff out. For myself, I'm about to move house. I'm literally surrounded by boxes at the moment, about to move house tomorrow. So this is the last episode I'm doing from the house I'm currently living in, and then I'll be in my new house next week. Now, I'm not sure if my internet's going to be fully functional for me to do an episode next week, so if there's no episode next week, I apologise. It's because my proper internet's not being installed until the 1st of March. But I've got like a mini 4G router hub that's been provided by my internet company to sustain me over. So if that is sufficient for me to get on and play and upload a video, then there may be a video next week. But if there isn't, then I do apologise, and it'll probably be 2 weeks before we have our next video. But it's been an absolute joy and pleasure, and we shall see you all again soon. And you guys take care. Look after yourself. Have a good one. Bye.